My first experience was when I got to take my two young boys at the time. They were young, they're in high school now, but they were both in grade school, and I got to take them to a Brewer game. So to take them to their first Brewer game, experience that as a family, was probably one of the most enjoyable times of my life with regards to sporting events. I got to, have hot dogs and ice cream and popcorn, and we did the full Monty that day. So it was an excellent experience, and my boys still remember that, going to the Brewer game. That was unfortunately interrupted, the time with my boys, by a deployment.
We do Military Appreciation Day, where 4,800 individuals come to Miller Park and enjoy a game together. We have Brewers Buddies tickets, where throughout the season, various units can request tickets and come out and see our players hopefully win numerous games throughout the season and cheer, and USO cheers us on.
It was a last minute thing that we were like, oh my God, we need all of this equipment, and we didn't necessarily have the funds to go out and purchase it through the command. So we were like, let's reach out to the USO and let's see what they were able to do.
And even when we deployed, it was really awesome. They had these boxes, and the families and the children were really excited about the boxes, because the boxes had teddy bears in them, they had coloring pieces in there, they had pieces about deployment and being away, the stresses, the anxiety, and they also had a lot of resources for the family members.
When I first started doing this, bringing tickets from the Admirals to the USO of Wisconsin, I thought, hey, this is great. We're helping some troops have fun, enjoy a night at the rink. And the more I worked with the USO staff and volunteers, I realized that the simple act of tickets to a hockey game was way more than what I ever thought it was. We take for granted what we have here. When I have a bad day of work, it's a lot different than when somebody in Afghanistan has a bad day at work.
The one thing that I often share with people is a video of my son. While I was deployed, I unfortunately had to miss out on my youngest son, riding his bike for the first time. And that wouldn't have been possible without, organizations like the USO, who donated things like the internet. And I got to see that video. My wife sent that to me while I was overseas. So I feel indebted to the USO, and it was only by the grace of God that I was given the opportunity when I came back to volunteer and share some of my time with the USO, to give back.
At Operation Christmas this year, I got to serve hot chocolate and help children pick out their gifts for their parents. And one of my memories from that was a gentleman who said he had recently moved to the Milwaukee area, and his wife was out of work. She was laid off. They bought a house, and they weren't sure what Christmas was going to look like at their house this year. And he shared that that event really meant a lot to him and his family. So I really appreciated getting to be involved in that.
I know for a couple service members who were really struggling, especially at Christmas, the younger soldiers, they were struggling with worrying about getting gifts and stuff, and they thought it was great because they could actually go around and the kids got to pick out some gifts, or the parents, a lot of them the parents picked out the gifts, and then they were gonna have them wrapped for the kids and stuff. And it made them have a little less stress in their life because they knew that that was one less thing they had to worry about for Christmas Day.
And a mother came up to Ellie, who was managing the event, happened to be standing next to me with tears in her eyes. And she was explaining to Ellie the fact that her husband was deployed overseas and that she had 3 children. And if it wouldn't have been for the USO event, Operation Christmas, there would have been no Christmas for these kids. And I'll be honest with you, I spent 3 years in the Marine Corps. But I teared up and I walked away because that was a very touching moment.